Gary Parrish, it's Friday, November 12th, 2021. Welcome back to the CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball podcast, where we sometimes discuss camel fighting, dodo birds, and leaky black. Matt Norlander is here with me, and not a whole lot has happened in the sport since we last talked. Hunter Dickinson had a big game in Michigan's season-opening win over Buffalo. Maryland started 1-0 with a victory over George Washington. Shouts to Adi Joseph. I guess the most interesting thing that has happened is that the NCAA scolded Oklahoma State for how Mike Boynton reacted to his program's postseason ban. He released a statement, the NCAA did Thursday night, alleging that committee members subsequently received threatening and offensive messages. So let's start here, Deadleg. Are you surprised Kyle Boone threatened to eliminate Georgetown's president, Squid Game style?
Still haven't seen an episode of Squid Game. That was a heck of a statement. By the way, how are you not opening the podcast mentioning my Dr. Evil chair? Like, look at this setup right now. Double hotel room, GP's lighting situation. People are going to be disappointed. There has been a push for DP in the dark room as the way to go, but he's looking gorgeous. So anyone watching on YouTube, reminder, you can subscribe in the episode description. I'm in Spokane, GP's in New York, so a rare double remote situation here. As for Oklahoma State, man, that was a hell of a statement by the NCAA. And clearly, it goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway. Anyone that went and sent threatening messages to any members of the NCAA Infractions Committee or Enforcement Committee or the Appeals Committee, that's unacceptable. But if you're going to choose to be on this kind of committee, you are a public figure working for a public institution. And the thing that Oklahoma State coach Mike Boynton was so upset about, in addition to the ban, which wasn't a huge surprise to Boynton, I wound up talking to him the next day. He's like, I wasn't naive. I wasn't overly optimistic that the appeal was going to be turned over, but I had some sort of hope considering that USC didn't get a ban. South Carolina, Creighton, TCU, some other schools didn't receive heavy-handed punishments. But it was this idea that the NCAA could put out a statement, deliver its punishment, and then basically none of the people associated with the process are ever publicly held accountable. They don't have to go and face the players at Oklahoma State and tell them. They don't have to do any of the hard stuff. They get to kind of do this behind closed doors. And so Boynton, who did do something unprecedented, he named these people. He called them out at his press conference. That led to enraged Oklahoma State fans finding, the email addresses for these people and sending, I'm sure, completely inappropriate and if not potentially obscene messages. But, the idea that they should be able to hand out these decisions and then face zero backlash is just not living in reality. If the NCAA is surprised that people were really pissed off at the NCAA for an NCAA postseason ban decision, that's the height of naivete as far as I'm concerned. And I'd love if the NCAA could ever bring the same kind of energy that it brought in that statement on Oklahoma State with anything else tied to modernizing its system. Like that kind of passion, that kind of language would be great to see as it pertains to changing the way the structure of the NCAA is. And there was some light references to that in the statement overall, but clearly it was inappropriate for Oklahoma State fans to go and potentially threaten or just send horrible messages to these people. But this idea that they get to make this decision and then hide forever and face no kind of at least acknowledgement publicly is absurd. Of course they should. And Oklahoma State has the right to fight back publicly. And if it chooses to name the people on the committee, then that's just the breaks. You chose to be on the committee. It is a public committee. You are a public member of that institution. That comes with the territory.
Yeah, I don't mind these people's names being out there. Like you said, it's a public committee. They're handing out public punishments. Their names should be attached to it. The idea that they should have to fly to Stillwater and deliver the news in person seems a little excessive. Like, I won't go that far, but certainly their names, I don't know if they deserve to be known, but they should be known, and they are known. Nice Big Star shirt, by the way.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Those are my little homies from Memphis.
I know what I'm doing here. A little Big Star. Absolutely love it. That's right.
Just saw it for the first time when you leaned back. So I don't mind their names being out there, but obviously, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, actually threatening university officials, that's obviously over the line and possibly insane.
Yeah, get a grip.
Yeah, get a grip. Like, Edwin Diaz is the closer for the Mets, and he ruins my summer nights all the time. I can't stand him.
Where's this going right now?
He brings me real pain and suffering. But it's never occurred to me to threaten him.
Are we? Hold on. Is that a 100% factual statement? Are we absolutely sure? If I find you July 18 of last year, are we sure? If I find you at about 10:45 at night, I'm
positive. I have never threatened Edwin Diaz, life or in any other way, even though I would argue he's done me more wrong than the NCAA has done Oklahoma State. All right. So, let's keep it between the lines. Be frustrated. Send a well-written letter that makes points you want to make. Leak my column to them if you want to. But threatening university officials for giving your favorite school a postseason ban, that seems a bit wild. I think most people could agree with that. So Strong Jaw, if you're listening, calm it down out there. What if it really was? What if it really was Cal Boone? Like, I'm going to kill you, Georgetown president.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we might need to do a little digging into Boone's emails. Make sure that nothing untoward happened there. Of course, we joke. We love KB, but he listen. I don't think Kyle Boone, as an Oklahoma State alumnus, is that broken up about the NCAA's message there. I also think, by the way, this is damage control for the NCAA in this regard. Parrish, I did think about this as well when I saw this. This statement landed actually just as I got into my hotel in Spokane Thursday. This is to prevent. I think the NCAA knows that there are going to be more postseason bans via the IARP, and it wants no part of any other coach in the future doing anything remotely like this, because the backlash is going to continue. It's probably going to get noisier, frankly, and it's going to come at this weird time where the NCAA is restructuring its constitution. It's going to change its enforcement model again for the third time in essentially less than a decade, and it's trying to get ahead of this by basically saying this ain't okay for aggrieved parties to go on the offensive after these punishments are handed down. And so it's basically trying to staunch the flow of this happening again. Whether or not that actually happens will remain to be seen. I don't know if we'll ever see another coach go down the list and naming people associated with this on the NCAA side, but that's also clearly why they did this, because they don't want to deal with this again. They don't want to deal with a furious Kansas fan base or Auburn or LSU, Arizona, some of those fan bases, you think Oklahoma State came heavy? Wait until you piss off Arizona fans. Okay. So that's why I think that's also why they did this, which is understandable. But again, at the same time, this idea that you can serve on this committee, opt in a volunteer role, I understand that, and simply just be free of any kind of criticism whatsoever it's a joke. That's not what's going to happen here. We'll see how successful the NCAA was at this, but to see Emmert's name also attached to that letter, it was just, I found it rich and a bit ironic. That's all.
Again, and I know you know this. There is a difference between criticizing someone and threatening someone, and it seems like if we take the NCAA at its word, some of these committee members were not criticized but threatened. I criticized them. I didn't threaten them. What if I would have? I would have called them. So I'm coming for you.
I mean, the floor is yours if you'd like to update this story.
No, I criticized them. I didn't threaten anybody. More broadly speaking, and then we'll move on. We have become a more threatening society because of social media, largely because of social media, if not entirely because of social media. There are politicians, senators, governors, congressmen, who are not running for re-election because they're tired of the things that go hand in hand with it. They are fearful in some places of what being a public official who isn't in line with one of our former presidents, they're fearful of what comes with that, particularly in parts of the Republican Party. And so I don't think it should be a shock that this trickles into every other aspect of our life. And
Right.
so, it's just part of living in this era of technology and with all the nastiness that comes with Facebook and Twitter. I mean, you and I get it every day. I mean, I don't know if you do. I do every day. Every day, somebody's trying to tell me what they want to do to me or what they think I should do to myself. And you get a little numb to it. But I do imagine if you're like if somebody threatened me today on Twitter, which is the same thing as sending a threatening message, it's words delivered with a threat, I wouldn't even really blink because I'm just so used to it. But I do imagine if you're a university president or whatever, you're probably not as used to it because you're not as active in most cases on social media. So it could be alarming when you're suddenly put the crosshairs like that, so to speak. So not surprised that we got here. Was a little surprised to see that statement from the NCAA, if only because I don't remember a statement like that from the NCAA ever before. But I think you're right. The NCAA just wanted to try to set a line here because they know more of these are coming, whether it's LSU, Arizona, Memphis, Kansas. Some more of these are coming, and they all got fans who have social media accounts. Couple of other notes from around the sport before we get to the Final Four and one. Deadline, we had a resignation on Thursday. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, no, this upstates the story that we had, 2 podcasts ago. Jim Hayford has resigned. He resigned Thursday. If you missed the previous episode or missed the story, he repeated a racial slur toward one of his players in a scrimmage before the season started. And it was the second instance of this happening where one of his players used the N-word, black player, and Hayford apparently was not he didn't want the word used in his program, which is problematic to begin with because a white man in a position of power doesn't get to say when black people get to use that word, obviously. So he had used it a second time, and he repeated it, asking him if he actually said the word. This led to him being put on administrative leave, and as we alluded to on a previous episode, that unless you are Will Wade, that means you are not going to keep your job. And so he did resign. Seattle opened the season earlier this week. It actually coincidentally plays on Friday at Washington State. So just a headline there. What else is there to say, Parrish? I mean,
nothing. We've said it, note to white men and women, just stay out of it. If you hear the word, don't repeat it. If you hear the word, don't be bothered by it. As long as it's coming from an African American's mouth, just stay out of it. If you got a little bit of a brain, you understand why you should just stay away from it. And if you don't have a little bit of a brain, just trust us when we tell you should just stay out of it. This coach isn't the first person to lose his job over something similar. The message should be clear by now. Repeating that word is not acceptable. Asking people why they can use that word but you can't is nonsensical at this point. Just stay away from it and keep your job. Those direct deposits come every 2 weeks at most places.
Other thing on the court, so we're all of a couple of days old in the season here. We had 2 buzzer beaters of note that went down Thursday night. The first one, Tim Miles, San Jose State coach, former Nebraska coach, of course, he got his 400th career win on a buzzer-beating shot over Cal State Fullerton. So San Jose State, which is not expected to be good whatsoever, nonetheless opened the season with a 78-76 win over Fullerton. And just like a small addendum to this, I remember talking to Miles when he was at Nebraska, and one of his career goals is to reach 500 career wins. That's just something that since he knew he could be a head coach in college basketball, it was a dream of his to reach 500 career wins. And that, I think, is no small part of why he wanted to get back in. He's now at SJSU, and for him to get career win number 400 was pretty awesome. But the bigger one And
Well,
really,
right there, do you think he can get to 500 career wins without the home court advantage that is Pinnacle Bank?
I mean, yeah. That was another thing, by the way, actually. When we recorded late at MSG, Nebraska also lost to Western Illinois. And so we got the listeners are always on it. Pinnacle Bank went Pinnacle Bank again. So that was another power conference upset from the opening night. Nebraska, which might be sub 500 on its home floor, since Parrish first jokingly referred to that as the most
I was not joking. That's the
most dominant home court advantage in all of college basketball, Pinnacle Bank Arena. Nebraska lost at home again. They can't stop. They love it.
Did you see Rothstein? He did 68 things to look forward to in the college basketball season or whatever. And one of them was the home court advantage at Pinnacle Bank.
Was it? No, I did not see this.
No, I don't think he was doing it to goof around. I think he was being dead serious, because it really was once upon a time a good home court advantage. We lived through that. We don't remember it, but it happened. Pinnacle Bank was tough to walk into once upon a time. A little easier these days.
I would say pre-pandemic Pinnacle Bank. Say that 3 times fast, but that's not even true. This thing has been going south for like 4 straight seasons. Anyway, Nebraska took a loss without. To answer your question, I think he's actually got a better. I think he's got a better chance. I don't know what the average attendance is at San Jose State, but I think he's got a better chance. The other game of note, Parrish. This is the best buzzer beater we're going to see all season, or at least the most unlikely. Arizona State loses another Pac-12 loss. What are we doing? We're kicking them out, right?
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they're not allowed to be in the Power 5 anymore. That's UCLA's league, and everybody else is what do they call it in soccer? What do you do to them?
Relegated.
Yeah, they're relegated. They've been relegated.
I can't.
Arizona State no longer gets to play UCLA. They have to play other relegated programs.
Fair enough. JP Mormon of UC Riverside had 14 points. It was his final 3 that clinched this. UC Riverside beat Arizona State 66-65. And Arizona State, they weren't anywhere close to NCAA tournament consideration in my 1-358. I thought they'd be a bottom half Pac-12 tournament team, but still, you're at home against UC Riverside, and JP Mormon gets the ball with 1.7 seconds to go. If you haven't seen it already, it was, if you listen to this podcast and are on Twitter or on social media, you had to have seen this shot. It's absurd. Mormon shoots it from about 70 feet. Cash gets it off in 1.7 seconds. Marcus Bagley went for a steal. He missed, which allowed Mormon to gather himself and sink it. So we don't need to go wax poetic about UC Riverside, although this is the second straight, again, Pac-12 relegation. Second straight season, a team loses to UC Riverside. Washington, it was a year ago, and now Arizona State. So that is a brutal loss for Bobby Hurley, but credit to Mike Magpio and that staff at Riverside, which, as an aside, that program, that school debated ending its Division I existence in the past year, a la what Hartford's doing right now. But they rallied, they committed. Now they're getting buy game money from Arizona State, Washington, and it's, the program is on the upswing. So that's a cool little redemption story at the mid-major level out west there. Huge win for Riverside.
Yeah, it was a wild shot, and it obviously went viral. I don't know what the next 5 months holds, but I'm with you. It's going to be harder to find a longer buzzer beater, a game-winning buzzer beater. It's going to be hard to find one longer than that. Just a really fun shot for everybody except for Bobby Hurley, and I can't imagine. Bobby might still be struggling with that at this moment. Oh yeah, it's 8:05 on the West Coast as we record here. And who knows if he got more than 3 hours of sleep, because that's the kind of, get out of here. Oh, and by the way, shouts to Mike DeCourcy, who has been on this forever. Shots like this are unlikely, but when they happen, they're phenomenal. And this is why you don't advance the ball in college basketball after a timeout in the final. They make these kind of moments all the more special. Jalen Suggs doing what he did, that shot doesn't happen if Gonzaga gets the ball at half court after a timeout. I know there are some proponents to go to the NBA rule. But I'm just not in favor of it. It's because of exact moments like this where magic can happen. As unlikely as it is, it still happens on occasion. And we saw another example of that Thursday night. All right. We do have a couple of top 5 matchups this weekend, so that's going to be fun. We're going to do the Final 4 and 1 next. But first, Check this out. All right, Deadleg, you remember the Final Four and 1, right?
Remember it? I've been prepping for this for 4 months, man.
I picked 4 games. You picked the 5th. Then we both picked the games against the spread. We keep a tally all season. I win, just like always.
That's not what happens. I'm pretty sure you owe me concert tickets to a gig of my choice. Hasn't happened. That was 2 years ago. I don't even know what we agreed on last year when my record was better. But now, year 3, whatever. I'll just win and you won't pay up. It's fine.
I'll pay whatever I got to pay. I don't even know what I owe you.
We bet last year. We bet something that wasn't this.
I'm sorry. I owe you concert tickets right when the once a century pandemic hit and there were no concerts. I apologize for the role the pandemic played in the Final Four and 1.
We will take suggestions. How about this, YouTube viewers, in the comments? What should Parrish and I, and make it like fun but realistic and not absurd and not $100? Give us suggestions. What should be on the line for this year's season-long tally for the Final Four and 1? Let us know, and then hopefully we'll agree to something by the time we do this again next Friday.
I'm going to get you concert tickets to a show at Pinnacle Bank.
Okay. You going to fly me out there too? Airfare, hotel, whole deal?
I'll fly you to Lincoln. What do I care?
Okay.
I'll fly you to Lincoln. So, all right. I got my 4 games. You ready?
I got my one.
We will discuss them in the order in which they will tip off, provided they tip off as scheduled. Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. It's SMU at number 13, Oregon, inside Dillon Brooks Arena. The line is Oregon -6.5. You can watch it on the Pac-12 network. It means nobody's going to see this game. It's invisible. They're playing an invisible game at Dillon Brooks Arena.
Let the record reflect that we're about to discuss and pick a bevy of Friday tips.
Oh,
we love it.
No, I thought about that because I've had a long-standing rule. I don't pick Friday games, but both of these games that I'm going to pick on Friday, they end on Saturday.
Okay.
They're going to end on Saturday.
And one of them is like one of the 3 or 4 best non-conference games of the season, so we kind of need to talk about it and pick it.
And the other one is on a TV channel that nobody has.
I think that Arizona State loss to Riverside was on the Pac-12 network, and everyone saw it happen on their social media feeds. Like no one actually. There might have been 7 people that watched it in real time. So to your point, yes, very much.
My direct TV bill is bordering on $400 a month. I have every channel you can buy. The king of the Pac-12 network.
It's never going to happen.
It doesn't make sense.
SMU at Oregon, sneaky fun. Kendrick Davis might be the best player on the floor in this one for SMU. I will go with the Ducks, but of the 5 we're going to talk about here, this is my least confident, but I will go with Oregon at home to win and to cover. This is a fun one that will be has been overlooked and a little overlooked because of the other huge game happening on Friday, but nevertheless, Oregon at home, still got to see a little bit more with SMU. How about this, by the way, if you're watching the YouTube stream? Shouts to Nada Edwards, our producer, getting a little Ken Pom page action on your screen. For anyone that hears us reference this all the time and hasn't ponied up, first of all, that's ridiculous. If you're a college basketball fan, it's $20 a year for Ken Pom. He could charge $50 and probably not affect his subscribership. So
he really should. I've told Ken this before. He should raise his price. Like, what would you pay for? What would you pay for that?
I mean, well, I'm not trying to put people out that don't want to pay more, but honestly, I'd pay $100 a year for this easily. Like for what we use it for, it's worth way more than $20 a year.
Wait, he needs to raise his price. Ken, raise your price.
Okay. You got a bunch of people like, GP, I'm in college. I love Ken Pom. What are you doing right now? You're killing me.
Be like if Ken invented the iPad and then sold them for $20. Be like, what are you doing? You can do better than that.
I don't know. I guess you could form the argument if you want. I don't know if the advent of KenPom.com is quite as culturally significant and world shifting as the iPad, but I get the point all the same. I think for you it is. Let's be real. For you, it definitely is.
I use KenPom more than I use my iPad.
That's what I'm getting at. If you could only live with one or the other for the rest of your life, Ken Palm or an iPad, we're both taking Ken Palm.
It's not even close.
Not even
It's
close.
not even close.
Get that iPad out of my face.
It's not even a debate. I throw my iPad out the window.
Exactly.
Not a debate. I had about a 21-hour period where I thought I lost my iPad. I thought I left it on the plane because I got home and it wasn't there. And I was looking at buying more iPads. So frustrated with myself. I was like, how did I just leave? Even put in a lost item thing with Delta Airlines. By the way, Delta Airlines, if you're listening, I found my iPad. It was at my radio studio. I just left it there on Wednesday. So Delta, forget about it. You don't have to look for my iPad. I found it, but that was a stressful time, Deadleg. I went 21 straight hours not knowing where my iPad was.
But you could pull up kenpalm.com
whenever I wanted.
Anytime you wanted. I will take the Ducks. By the way, I will take the Ducks -6. This is SMU's Ken Palm page if you were watching at the moment. All these stats are like one game in, so give it a little bit of time, but that's the schedule, and that's the Ponies currently 55 at Ken Palm as we head into this game tonight.
You mentioned Kendrick Davis. He had 18 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists in 29 minutes in SMU's season opening win over McNeese State. He's a great college basketball player. Like Penny Hardaway was asked, I think at AAC Media Day or somewhere around there, like who's the toughest player to prepare for in the American? And without hesitating, he said it was Kendrick Davis. Do you know who plays for SMU now? Baylor legend Tristan Clark.
Yeah, I know. Cool little story there. Yeah.
He had 12 points and 6 rebounds against McNeese. It was his first game since February 29th, 2020. Knee injuries just derailed his career at Baylor. It led to what I've read is some mental health issues. But he was awesome before he got hurt. Like in that 2018-19 season, he averaged 14.6 points, 6.3 rebounds through 14 games. At the time of the injury, he was Baylor's leading scorer and leading rebounder. And so if he can be a real contributor for SMU, and it looks like he can, perhaps that's the thing that can make the Mustangs an NCAA tournament team. With Oregon, they're 1-0. Will Richardson got 20 points, 4 assists in that season opener. The transfers were good. Davion Harmon, 15 points. Quincy Guerrier, 12 points. I've got Oregon as the second best team in the Pac-12 behind UCLA, obviously. That's a program that's won back-to-back outright Pac-12 titles. But I think this is a little tricky for them. Like, I think they'll win the game. But if you're going to give me – the number I had was 6.5. The number you stated is 6. What are we going with here?
If I said 6, I meant 6.5. So 6.5, and I will take Oregon to win by at least 7.
Yeah, I'm taking the points. I'm taking Oregon to win, but I'll take SMU plus the 6.5. Friday, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. It's number 4 Villanova at number 2 UCLA inside Reeves Nelson Pavilion. Line is UCLA -4.5. You can watch it on ESPN2.
This is just it's an incredible game. It's unfortunate that it's so late on the East Coast, but it's a Friday. This game's going to be on ESPN's networks. They've got NBA stuff and getting a game. There's already one huge game on Saturday, college basketball-wise, and you're dealing with college football. So this is how it goes there.
It is wild. Not wild. It's understandable, but it's noticeable how secondary even great college basketball games are.
Yeah.
In this part of the year. I mean, the reason, I think we talked about this before, the reason you get a lot of Friday games in November, and then, they basically go away, is because if you can't get on TV on Saturday. I mean, in college football season, you're going to have a hard time getting on TV on a Saturday. And the NBA stuff with ESPN on Friday is complicated. So this is what you get. A late night, Friday night start on ESPN2 between 2 top 5 teams.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this later on Friday here. Last time these two teams met was 2010. Nova won 82-70 at the NIT season tip-off. I'm pretty sure I was at that game. That would have been like the week before I started at CBS. I think I was at that game. Not only I'm riffing off the top of my head. Not only was I at that game, I'm gonna check myself right now. Let me see if I was Reese Nelson on that team. Reese Nelson was on that team. He was a freshman.
Did he fight you? Did he fight you at the game?
He did not. He did
What?
not.
How did you avoid the confrontation with Reeves Nelson? Remember how wild that was? This dude would just run around punching people on his own team. Allegedly.
I thought you were about to call him a legend.
Well, he is a legend.
Allegedly a legend. I thought that's where you're going right there.
He is a legend who allegedly would just run up and punch his teammates. I think I remember that correctly. And then I think we discovered within the past couple years, maybe he changed his name.
Yes. What was it again? Can't remember.
No, why would I remember Reeves Nelson's new name?
This is why the YouTube comments are going to come in huge, because there's going to be at least 2 people that shout out the actual name there while we can't remember it off the top of our heads. Reminder on UCLA, 10 rotation players back from the Final Four team. This is a group that went 22-10 last season. Mick Cronin's groups got off to a nice start earlier this week, and they're going to get a handful here. I resist being too overly confident with how I think this game is going to go. I love this matchup. I understand that nationally, it's, this game will get a little bit of run, but we're still in the middle of November. But this is why I love when college basketball can navigate into these kind of games. We talked about it a year ago when Gonzaga and Baylor scheduled late into the offseason to make sure that, potential 1 versus 2 matchup could happen. This is a top 5 matchup, obviously, and it's not hampered like college football, where you don't get the schedule for the upcoming season in the previous offseason. It's very hard. It's very unusual for that to happen. I will go with UCLA to win, but the number is just big enough where I'm going to take Nova to cover 4.5 on this one. UCLA made 13 threes in its season opener. It was the most in a game for UCLA since 2019. I think this game's got fun potential to be high scoring because the teams are veteran laden. But I think Villanova will give them a good game, and credit to these coaches for this thing got finalized first week of August or something like that. Can't wait to watch it. Give me Bruins to win, Nova to cover. And I'm going to say it'll be 79-77 UCLA, something like that.
You mentioned UCLA making threes. Villanova was 16 of 30 from 3 in its season opening win over Mount St. Mary's. They won that game by 40. They took 56 shots in the game. 30 of them were from 3. That's more or less how the 2018 championship team played. The 2019 team, even more so. Every starter in the season opener for Villanova took at least 1 3, and 3 starters took at least 7. So they're going to launch. I love it. I love the style of play. And so I do think this will be a fun game between 2, not just Final Four contenders, but national championship contenders. Should be noted, UCLA is going to be out without Cody Riley, who sprained his knee in the season opener. It's going to keep him sidelined this weekend. He'll be reevaluated next week. He's a starter, averaged 10 points and 5.4 rebounds last season. So he matters. Should be no surprise. Season opener. It was a 95-58 win over CSU Bakersfield. Johnny Juzing had 19 points. Jules Bernard also had 19 points. 5-star freshman Peyton Watson came off the bench. He was only 2 of 11 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. So not the greatest debut. But that's the thing about him being on this team, joining this roster, is that, you can let him ease into it. You don't need him to be Duke needed Paulo Banchero to be a star right from the jump. UCLA doesn't need that from Peyton Watson. Just let him come along at whatever pace he comes along. And, if he's there, great. If not, you still got the bulk of a team back that went to the Final Four last season. I'm with you. Make UCLA a 4.5-point favorite, make Villanova a 4.5-point favorite. I'm just going to take the points in this one. I think these are 2 comparable teams, either of which could, cut nets down in New Orleans. So I'll just take the 4.5 and pray for something that looks like a 1-possession game in the final minute. Game 3, Saturday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. It's number 5 Texas at number 1 Gonzaga inside the Dan Dickow Athletic Center. KenPom's got it because we don't have lines on these yet because they're so far away. But KenPom's got it. Gonzaga. Do you see this? Guess what you think it is. Trivia time.
This is not a trivia time. I'm going to say the way you set that up makes me. I'll say Gonzaga -7.
11.
What?
That's a big number.
What?
I know. I don't think that
ain't going to be the line. There's no way that's the line's not going to be. I think it'll be. When you say that, like usually the line when it comes out is almost, I don't want to say almost always, it's often within 2 points. I can't imagine this line is anything larger than I was going to say 6.
I bet it's going to get up around 8. Remember last year,
Yeah.
Gonzaga was laying all these big numbers and then beating everybody by 25?
I know. We'll
It
see.
is Gonzaga -11, according to KenPom. You can watch it on ESPN2. Deadleg will be there. What do you think?
Oh, boy. I wish I had the capability to see these teams practice before picking this game, but that's not happening. I'll be over at Gonzaga practice later Friday, and then I'll be at Texas practice on Friday evening. Intrigued to get a look at them behind the scenes before they play each other late Saturday night. Man, first, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I'm taking Texas to cover. That's just too many points. And Texas is gonna see. Gonzaga sometimes will struggle with physical teams, and I think Beard is he's gonna have his guys really get up on him, and I'm intrigued to see like Chet Holmgren, who had a wonderful debut. GP can give you his stat line when he talks about the Zags here in a second. Chet Holmgren, one of his defining traits as a player when you watch him, if you've seen him play, and he's basically going to get introduced to the nation on Saturday, to at least the college basketball loving nation. If his proper introduction might come later when they play UCLA and Duke later on this month, but he is a cocky, tough, doesn't take anything from anyone kind of guy on the floor. And I wonder if that mentality coming from, a prominent player, albeit a freshman, will impact the way Gonzaga approaches this game, because I think Texas is going to get up on them. Like, I think they're going to be aggressive and try and basically throw Gonzaga off its rhythm because Texas has the players to do that. 11 is just too big. I can't wait to watch this game, though, because I want to see how a Texas team with some quality bigs goes up against a Gonzaga crew that has, just a different kind of attack, let alone forget that Holmgren will look and play unlike anyone else in the sport this season. You have a team with 2 bigs who also could well be 2 of the 5 best players in the sport this season. We'll see. It's certainly on the table. And in that first game, Holmgren was better than Timmy. Timmy was he was fine. He was pedestrian in the season opening cruise control win over Dixie State, which Mark Few did not coach in. He will be coaching in the game against Texas. His suspension for the Labor Day DUI is officially over. But I will go Gonzaga to win and Texas to cover. This is the 4th meeting all time between these schools. Gonzaga has not lost. They are 3-0. The last time they met I was there. It was the PK 80 in Portland in 2017. Gonzaga won 76-71. This is per Texas's game notes. Texas will be looking for its first win in program history against an AP number 1 opponent. Never beaten a number 1 ranked team in the history of Texas's men's basketball program, although they did win over UCLA in 2007, 2008, but UCLA was not number 1 in the AP. It was number 1 in the coaches poll. Texas coming off a convincing, really nice win against Houston Baptist. Gonzaga is obviously a major upgrade in opponents. I can't wait for it. This is my first time here to Spokane. Nice little area. Looking forward to trying a few of the restaurants. It's very rainy, by the way, but out my window right now, Spokane Arena, which is not where the game is at. One last thing before I throw it over to you. By the way, I'm seeing how close Spokane Arena is to Gonzaga's campus, and that's basically a home game. That you can walk to that. It's just funny to me how occasionally Gonzaga will have to play an opponent, and I think they play Bama in that arena this year, I think, and it's not considered like an outright home game as far as the net or NCAA tournament consideration in the committee. That is the home arena. UConn's got to travel. 9 times further when it plays a home game in Hartford than this. So I couldn't help but notice as I got into my hotel last night. I was like, the other place that Gonzaga plays in, it's literally right there. And I don't know why they'd ever play there when the other venue is probably better and smaller. But anyway, that's my quasi rant. Who do you got?
The Kennel's great. You're gonna love the Kennel.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. This has been at the top of my list of all the places I've never been to. This is at the top of the list. This will be off the list, and then, frankly, Texas is the next one. When they open at Texas, Illinois, I want to get to, but Gonzaga was clearly of all the ones I'd never been to. I'm excited.
I've been there only once. It was several years ago. It was a Saturday night game, Gonzaga, Illinois, and on my Friday night, like tonight is your Friday night, you're not going to be able to outdo my Friday night. I hit the town with Adam Morrison and Dan Dickow. You don't think me and Adam Morrison and Dan Dickow got after it in Spokane on a Friday night?
I bet you did.
Woo! That's an all-timer.
You did not have to podcast. Didn't have to podcast that weekend. So
thank God. Chet Holmgren, 14 points, 13 rebounds, 7 blocks, 6 assists in his debut. First player ever at the division. I mean, not ever, in the past 25 years to get at least 10 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks, 5 assists in his Division I debut. So it was a historically impressive debut for the 5-star freshman who we talked about this in the preseason. Like the preseason National Player of the Year, probably not going to, it might not end up being the best player on his team.
All right, let's we're sitting there at the Garden.
I mean, I don't want to overact to one game. Like Drew Timme get 25 points.
I'm about to say this. We're sitting there at the Garden. You bring up the box score, and you half jokingly go, "He's the best player." Referring to Chet Holmgren's stat line, I'm like, "Can we wait more than one game?" Now that might wind up being true, but right away, Chet Holmgren took one game. Special player.
The other two heralded freshmen came off the bench, Nolan Hickman, Hunter Salas. So that was I guess a little surprising, if only because most people projected them as starters for Gonzaga. They might end up there, but Rasir Bolton was in the starting lineup. Iowa State transfer. He had 15 points in that opener. Drew Timme, 11 points, 4 rebounds. This, I guess it's debatable. But if you told me I could only watch one of them, UCLA, Villanova, or Gonzaga, Texas, I think Gonzaga, Texas is more interesting, if only because, Chet Holmgren's playing. And this is a guy who is – it'll be the first time we've watched him play against high-level college competition, and it'll be fascinating to see if all these things that he can do, actually translate seamlessly. And at this point, I guess I'd bet on him probably translating seamlessly. Game 4, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, number 20, Florida State at Florida inside Kenny Boynton Arena, previously known as the O-Dome. KenPom has it Florida -2. You can watch it on ESPN.
Florida State's 22nd at KenPom. Florida is 28 at KenPom. This game is the rematch from a season ago when Keontae Johnson collapsed. That was an early tip on a Saturday in December. 4 minutes into the game, Keontae Johnson, it was the scariest moment that we had seen on a basketball floor in a very long time there. Keontae Johnson is still with the program, by the way, not playing. He is currently trying to decide whether or not he is going to cash in on an insurance policy or eventually pursue a professional career in basketball. If he does that, he has to give up the insurance money. So he'll be on the sideline here in what is like this is actually a quality game. It just gets buried on an NFL Sunday. Again, I understand why that would be the case, but this is a good game and a good test for a couple of teams that aren't projected to be the best team in their respective leagues, but are anticipated to be NCAA tournament teams. Both squads lost important players from a season ago. I'd say Florida State has a little more uncertainty, even though I think FSU is a little bit better than the Gators. This could be Raekwon Evans' year. I mentioned in the preseason, if not on the podcast, certainly on the site. I think Raekwon Evans might be one of the best year-over-year improved players in the ACC. Him combining with Caleb Mills, a Houston transfer, I think will be a very fun watch this season for FSU. And as for Florida, he got off to a 1-0 start with a 13-point win at home over Elon on Tuesday. Colin Castleton You may recall he's the name to know. He's their best player, 6'11" forward. He was 7'11" the other night, and was really good defensively. And they also bring in Myrion Jones from Penn State, who's a key transfer, and Philandris Fleming, one of the best names in all of college basketball, formerly of Charleston Southern. Keep an eye on Philandris Fleming Jr. in this one. I think that he could be in for a big game, and I think he will wind up being a top 2, at worst top 3 player on this roster. I think he will be a very impressive up transfer at the power conference level this season. As for the game, I'm going to take the Gators at home in a close one. Florida -2. It almost smells like a push, but I'm not going to never push. Give me the Gators to cover, win by 3, and who knows? Like, I think this game actually has potential to be the best game of the weekend in terms of how close it is throughout. Chris Beard's debut at Texas. What are we going to see from Texas there? Nova goes across the country. We're kind of waiting to see if UCLA is going to pick up where it left off. SMU, that's a tough one at Oregon. We'll get to my and one in a minute. I just think this game has the best potential to be the closest from tip to final horn. Give me the Gators to barely cover.
Caleb Mills, the Houston transfer, he got 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists in 21 minutes in Florida State's 105-70 season opening win over Penn. Jalen Warley, Matthew Cleveland, the heralded freshman, both came off the bench, proving that Leonard Hamilton is committed once again to bringing incredible talents off of his bench. Myrion Jones, you mentioned him. He's the Penn State transfer. He had 18 points for Florida in their season opening win over Elon. So, you got some really good players here. This is a good game. Point spread, I think underlines that. It's a toss-up situation. I think I'll take Florida State plus the points. In fact, you ready? I think I'll take Florida State straight up. Straight up.
That was first of all, I've seen him do, I don't know, 8. What's funny to me is Nada is watching this for the first time. I've seen 80 straight ups in my life, but everyone else is seeing straight up for the first time. That was good. Don't worry. He's got better, stronger, more ridiculous straight ups in the holster by the time we get to mid-January. But that's a straight up pick there. I don't do the straight ups because, frankly, I look and sound ridiculous when I try. I need a different bit for when I pick a team straight up. But I like that we disagree. By the way, normally I track this in real time. I haven't been tracking our picks whatsoever. So I don't know if Nada has it, but we'll get this all settled on the record so that we have it, or I'll go back and listen.
We'll get it sorted out. Norlander, before we get to your game, let me tell the folks about Butcher Box. You know what's great? High quality meat. You know what isn't? Anything less than high quality meat. Just doesn't taste the same. That's because when it comes to meat, quality does matter. And when you invest in high quality meat from Butcher Box, the benefits go way beyond a great tasting meal. There is nothing I enjoy better than a tremendous steak, straight from the grill. But here's the truth. My local meat market, it's not conveniently located. It's not near my home or office. I spent years driving out of my way, but not anymore. And that's my favorite thing about Butcher Box, how convenient it is to use. Every month, Butcher Box is going to ship a curated selection of high-quality meat right to your home. Each box contains between 8 to 14 pounds of meat, depending on your box type, and that's enough for 24 individual meals. Everything is packed fresh and shipped frozen for your convenience. It allows you to save time on your next trip to the grocery store, and it's free shipping in the continental United States. Right now, you can go to Butcher Box. They're offering new members a 10 to 16-pound turkey free in their first box. Just go to butcherbox.com/eyeoncollege to sign up. That's butcherbox.com/eyeoncollege. That's EYEONCOLLEGE. You can receive a free turkey in your first box from Butcher Box. The search for high quality meat ends here. Deadleg, what's the and one game?
You said 10 to 16 pounds worth of turkey? That's a legit turkey, my friend.
A big turkey. They don't play around. They're not playing around. This is the Zion Williamson of turkeys we're talking about.
Okay. I feel like the Zion Williamson of what are we even discussing? I feel like the Zion Williamson of turkeys is more like north of 23 pounds. So what the hell do I know? I'm a pescatarian. All right. You think Pac-12 network is a problem? Fifth game.
Why don't they put the Pac-12 network on True TV? Has nobody ever thought about that?
I mean,
just move the Pac-12 network to True TV.
Friday night.
Am I the only one with a brain?
9:00 Eastern. BYU TV.
Ooh,
How's that suit you?
I think I have it.
You do?
I'm certain I have it.
Oh man.
I have BYU. I can watch this, no problem.
This ain't gonna be
I
a problem.
I don't have any idea where it is, but I got it. I'm certain I have it.
I don't know if you got it in that Manhattan hotel room. I don't have it here in Spokane. But normally, if you were at home,
Sure,
you'd have it.
Yeah.
Watching this tonight for us might be. Although I'm in West Coast Conference territory, for all I know, BYU TV's like it comes on before I get to the CBS and big channels here. CBS, by the way, is the network of stars.
America's most watched network.
We got a Mountain West throwback rematch here. San Diego State of the Mountain West going to play its former MWC foe, BYU. It's 9:00 tip on BYU TV. Ken Palm line. I have the Ken Palm line. I don't have the actual lineup in front of me here. Didn't know if it was going to be out at this hour. So we're just going with Ken Palm line. BYU -2 at home. They are 39th at Ken Palm. San Diego State is 33rd. Who you got?
Well, as much as I love San Diego State,
we know that.
I'm going to have to go with the Cougars. You can't go into the Marriott Center on the opening weekend of the season and win a game. What are we talking about?
Jimmer Fredette Center, by the way. Forgot to mention that.
You can't go in. You cannot go into the Fredette Center on a Friday night in November and win. What do you even try? Who even scheduled this?
I think both teams scheduled it. If you're looking for a factually accurate response, I think both teams did.
Well, only one team should have.
Okay. That team being BYU.
Of course.
Okay. So you're going to take BYU to win and cover.
They have Alex. One team has Alex Barcelo and the other team does not.
It's true.
What if he played for both teams, though? You get confusing. Don't even. It just get confusing.
That's like putting Pac-12 network on True TV. Gets a little confusing.
That should happen.
Okay.
That should happen.
UC Riverside getting a lot of love on this episode because San Diego State opened its season on Tuesday with a 13-point win over UC Riverside. BYU coming off an opening win against a tournament team from last season. They beat Cleveland State by 10. You mentioned Barcelo. He was 13 of 13 from the line in that game. 4 of 4 from 2-point range and 1 of 2 from 3. Just, again, a do-it-all player. He was too lowly ranked on our top 100. I tried to tell you guys, but what do you want from me? BYU leads the all-time series 49-24 against San Diego State. But that's, of course, San Diego State was basically terrible until Steve Fisher got there at the end of the 20th century. And since then, the program has been much, much better. I will take – this is a good game. We got a couple sneaky good ones here. We got two main headliners, but got some sneaky good ones here on the opening weekend of the season. You will take the Cougars, and so will I. At home in this environment, I don't know what the fan situation was last season at the Fredette Center by the time we got to February. I just can't recall if, one of those deals where they had some people limited capacity and masks, if they had nobody. But I know this. I haven't been there. You want to talk about places I haven't been to? This would be top 5. Get out to Provo and see this kind of game. That's for sure. I've never been out.
I've been there. I've walked inside that place.
You have walked inside the Marriott Center or the Fredette Center, as we refer.
Yeah, you can't call it the Fredette Center. You have to name it. We established this years ago. That is renamed for that guy they kicked out of school because he had premarital sex.
Oh,
remember him?
Yeah, but I thought come on, man, Davis, right? Why are you doing this to me?
Trivia time. I mean, he played with Jimmer. So what year was that?
Was it that long ago?
Brandon Davies?
Brandon Davies. I thought he got the floor.
No, He gets the whole center.
Well, someone gets the court. Jimmer for that court. You name the arena.
No, that might not be him. I don't know if that's him.
Brandon Davies, it is him.
You're sure it's him? You sure that is the man who had premarital sex?
Yeah, I'm pretty. Do I have evidence? No. Do I want evidence? No. Would it be appropriate to have evidence? No. But it was Brandon Davies. I'm 99% sure. Yes.
Only
1% chance it's not. my apologies, but also my genuine pity and empathy for Brandon Davies for not having premarital sex. But I do believe that it was him.
It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation to find yourself in. I think it was Brandon Davies.
How are we swerving it? To the small faction of listeners who have children and tend to want to listen to this podcast, our deepest apologies for
I apologize.
I mean, we can't listen. There's just going to be a few episodes this season. Nada, by the way, confirms to us it is Brandon Davies. Congratulations, Brandon Davies. We will occasionally swerve into some premarital sex talk on the podcast. What do you want from us?
At this point, I'm not proud of this, but we talk about premarital sex more than we talk about leaky plaque.
That's true.
There's no getting around it.
Nada, I am begging you to just take that 2 seconds that just happened, just that, and create that as a clip for social media. Just please cut that and tweet it and tease the podcast, because it's factually accurate and it encapsulates just what the heck we're doing here. He says done. Love to see it. I got to pick this damn game. I will take, like you, BYU to win, to cover the 2. If it's 4, I'm taking them to cover the 4. And so those are our picks. Yeah, every episode going forward, I will recap who we have. I didn't do it in real time. I'm thrown off. I'm in the hotel room. I got Nada doing stuff on the back end. But if you listened, you heard everything. And again, these are for fun, for discussion. We have no idea what we're doing when trying to pick these games. We're just trying to take our best stab at it, and there we go.
Shouts to Devin Downey. Shouts to Chester, South Carolina. Shouts to Wendell Greenleaf, legend. Shouts to Larnell. Thank you guys once again for listening to the Eye on College Basketball Podcast, middle of the dumbest pandemic of my lifetime. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just type, Eye on College Basketball in the search engine. It should pop right up. Hit the bell button so you get alerts when a new video drops. You wouldn't want to not get alerts when a new video drops. And then what are you going to do to that like button, dead leg? What would Brandon Davies do to that like button, dead leg? He would smash it. He would smash it. He would. He'd sacrifice a season to smash that like button. He would. Be like Brandon Davies.
And also, and by the way, you mentioned the bell thing. Apparently, if you click the bell, that's huge, because you get the alert when the show goes up live. So subscribing is the most important thing, and then dinging that bell is extremely important as well. So if you haven't done that yet already, do it. But yes, be like Brandon Davies. Smash that subscribe button.
You got consent. That like button has consented. Now go smash. We'll talk to you again on Sunday. Till then, take care.